now that we know that in Spider-Man 2, those two guys are gonna be back again. Which I mean, in Miles Morales, I know like we didn't get Peter and Miles like together for like it was a like brief moment. But now in Spider-Man 2, we will have like I think for the entirety of the game from the looks of it. It just Insomniac Spider-Man 2 now looks a lot like when I saw the teaser, which is the teaser right now, of course. The game looked a lot darker. If that makes sense, because it was if Miles Morales and Insomniac Spider-Man was like more brighter, it's like a kind of not exactly origin story for Peter, but still it was like a continuation of the story of Miles and Peter. It looked very bright, looked very happy, but this one looks from the get-go it was dark. Like they're fighting together and all that stuff, which is pretty good, like team up, which is very nice. But then in the end, when they were revealing the villain, which I initially when I thought like when the voice came along, I thought it's Lizard. I literally thought that's it.
Will one of you finally give me what I desire?
When Venom came out, I blew my like this was crazy. I did not expect the second game to be Venom, which is insane because the first time when I saw Spider-Man in animated, the first time I ever saw Spider-Man was the incredible animated Spider-Man show, which the intro of that, the song of that, the show was amazing. But then they ended up with Venom. And that was my first impression of Venom. I was like, wow, that dude looks cool. I'm watching it because of Venom, and then I saw Venom multiple times. So that's why Venom became my like favorite. I have a action figure as well. It's not only Peter, it's also Miles. Two people. I usually saw Peter fighting against Venom, not Miles. That is an interesting thing to add.
Yes, very, very much so. Again, that's like just the addition of Miles and them both being in the story adds so many new dimensions to and we know Miles Morales has his own set of villains we had the Prowler, etc., and they existed individually as far as I have read. They could have changed later down the comics, but the addition of them both as a team together, I wanted to know how does the world react to that, right? How the existing foes of Spider-Man now know that they have to deal with two Spider-Men, right? How does that information resonate with other people is something I was very excited, and especially the concept of Venom. How they're gonna spin, because I love the character of Venom, but I love the characters of Venom from the 90s and much so the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, which I thought they were dead. But on that, I think the movies, we haven't really gotten the definitive version of Venom. I love Tom Hardy's take on Venom, whatever it is. Like, it's bizarre. It is out there. It is his own take. It is, and I'm all for it. But something in me wanted something closer to the classic version of Venom, which I think we're getting with this. And by the way, the voice actor of Venom, Tony Todd, that is perfection. The voice actor is exactly the kind of voice actor you want from Venom.
Yes.
And so just right there, you can tell that Insomniac knows what they're doing with this. My other question is, who is going to be Venom? Is it going to be Eddie Brock? Because that is the classic assumption. But in the comics, it had been that even there was Flash Thompson as well who became Venom. But if you see the end of the first game, the Stinger, where Norman Osborn goes to the chamber where it's revealed, in the game they said that Harry Osborn was out for some business trip or something. But that was not the case. Harry Osborn was actually in the chamber. He was there. And Norman Osborn was trying to heal him through some disease. And you could see these symbiotes, that symbiote attached to it.
Yeah.
So is it Harry Osborn as Venom? That's going to add another layer of complexity as well in there. Like, how do I beat Venom when he's my best friend, supposedly?
I don't know who is going to be the main villain guy. Like, is it going to be Venom who's going to be the end main villain that you have to go ahead and beat, or is it going to be Kraven? Because both of these guys are pretty good, dangerous villains. But I don't know, I don't know which side they're going to go on. Are they going to work together? They're going to band forces like we saw in Insomniac Spider-Man. Doc Ock had everybody in. So will Venom and Kraven team up and then they're going to join more people in together? That is a thing that I'm like, is that what's going to go? Because it's very interesting at this point.
It is interesting, but I think just like the first Spider-Man trailers, it could be a decoy. Remember the first Spider-Man trailer, they showed us Mr. Negative, right? And all of us thought that'd be the main villain. They hid Dr. Octopus for the longest part, right? They didn't show us Dr. Octopus in any of the trailers, right? And only when you played the game, you realized, like, hey, Dr. Octopus is the main villain. I feel Venom would be a force of nature of sorts, and just through the end, he's gonna be like a penultimate boss of sorts, just like how Mr. Negative was. But I think the final villain will be someone else, probably like Green Goblin, probably something else. I think they're hiding the final villain.
Yeah.
Just like the thing. I don't think Kraven would be the final villain either, because the best Spider-Man story I've read is this thing called Fearful Symmetry, and that has Kraven as the thing. But for that to happen, which I think they will tackle, Spider-Man needs to beat Kraven a lot of times. It's basically, the story starts with Kraven being pissed off because Spider-Man just kept beating him and wanted to one-up him. So I think he's going to be one of the earlier villains, and he's going to be taken out real quick. Something like that, right? Yeah. I think Insomniac is hiding the real villain because the first game set up a lot of things, which
kept on setting up.
Yeah, because not just the main game, not just in middle you had Taskmaster come up, and he mentioned that he was working for some group, right? And then you had those DLCs, right, where Yuri kind of turned into a vigilante, and then there was Silver Sable, who was telling about some other country, right, where there was something happening in another country, and they were gonna probably go there, or some Mary Jane, I think, was going to cover something there, right? So there was that setup. I don't know if there was any setup happening in Miles Morales, but there's a lot of things in the air.